So there is a very, very amazing insight in the Buddhist practice tradition. The Buddha made a revolution, and the revolution is still continuing today. And the revolution is this: if you want to be free, if you want to find God, the divine, perfection, liberation, there's no way that you can find it anywhere else other than in the heart of the experience of the moment. And that's really a shift. Only in the moment, basically, can you see God, or can you see your liberation. Inside experience is the freedom. Not there, Mashiach, Shemayim, the heavens, nowhere else. So this brings responsibility back to us, away from the priests and the rabbis and the Brahmins, and back to us. And it invites the question, what kind of seeing do we need to look at our experience in order to see the freedom in the heart of the experience? What kind of seeing is necessary for that? And it's the same kind of seeing that we need to kind of get ourselves out of life as painful, life as struggle, life as difficult, life as unexpected, uncontrollable. To get out of samsara, basically, it's the same thing. That's the seeing. And it's a seeing that breaks illusion. And the illusion is that we're kind of sleepwalking through life. That we're in tayas automati. That's the illusion. And it's the same seeing that breaks the illusion. The word vipassana, it's not right to use it as the word of a technique. It actually means to see clearly. The word dharma means to see things as they really are. So all of these words point to the same place, which is in the heart of an experience is the truth, a deeper truth. And so what is an experience that is not constructed and not conditioned and not automatic and not based on habit and on karma? What is the... And this teaching is the three characteristics. And three characteristics show us the deeper side of an experience, the unconditioned side of an experience, but they are not themselves liberation. And I'm going to go into them one by one. They are not themselves liberation, but if we experience, we go to the heart of our experience and see this truth, or this depth, or this unconditioned place inside an experience, we do it again and again and again and again and again, it always opens the door to liberation. And slowly, slowly, as a result of seeing the world like this, liberation happens. So it opens doorways again and again. That's why people go on retreat after retreat after retreat. Each time, opening another door, opening another door, opening another. And what is happening? Underneath the regular, ordinary experience, there is this magic of the three characteristics. And if that becomes the way we look at life, then liberation will happen by itself. So, what is the heart of an experience that frees us? So I'll go into the three. The first is dukkha, or it's a word none of us really like too much. It means dissatisfaction, it means suffering, it means frustration, it means the constant sense there's something wrong and something needs to be fixed. And it's interesting that the Buddha turned around the world of I want liberation there from Brahman, his time, or from the priests or from the Brahmins, and ask the question, what is the pain that makes you want to find liberation there? Look at that, because that's, again, back to the reality of your experience. What is the pain that is driving you to seek to fix something? What is the pain behind the struggle of life? What is the pain of, now we're looking at, in the 20th century, constant busyness? What is the pain that makes you look at the screen and Facebook and WhatsApp and so on 24 hours, and children? What is the pain that makes restlessness? What is the pain that makes you do too much and always finding something else and not wanting to be where you are because there's something better there? What is the pain of running after money, running after health, running after of going to coaching, of going to psychologists, of going... What's the pain that's driving all of these sense? It's the dissatisfaction, and it's fundamental. It doesn't mean that we're all miserable, but it means that dukkha is working behind the scenes, in background. Dukkha is dissatisfaction, is working behind the scenes and driving our life. We can see it obviously if we have pain in the body, but we can see it as pain in the mind. What's driving the cacophony of our mind? This crazy mind that doesn't stop and tells us all these kind of, what a mess in the mind. So this big mess in the mind, well, what's driving that? Where does that come from? So it's obvious pain in the body that we don't like, we take a pill, we don't want, we push away. It's subtle pain, it's pain of the fact that we don't want to change, we don't want to get old, we don't want to get sick, we don't want to lose. We just heard about a death of someone close. Nobody wants to lose people close, or lose ourselves. We want to be as we know we are. We don't want to change that. We want to know what is reality. We want to know what Maya is, the kind of 24-hour question, right? Maya. We don't want that question, Maya. That Maya is pain. We don't want to change. We want to know what's going on. We don't want uncertainty. We don't want iyadiya, not knowing. It's painful. We feel, what's going to happen? That's the self talking from its pain. So dukkha, pain, is on all levels, the very gross and the very subtle. I notice in this room, a few of you are moving your hand. You moved your hand. You're writing something. You're moving right now. You're moving your head. It's fine. I'm not saying you're moving your hand. But if you ask yourself on a very subtle level, what dissatisfaction made me move my hand right now? That's dukkha on a very, very subtle level. And in the meditation experience, we experience, what is the dukkha that makes me move? What's the dukkha? Obviously, if there's a fly on the nose, zvuv on our afshalanu, well, we move. But what is the dukkha that makes us move? So we have a tendency to fix things. Shakespeare said, better is the enemy of the good. We don't appreciate so much the good because we're so busy trying to get better. And if we look carefully at the dukkha inside an experience, it becomes our teacher. It becomes not a problem, but a doorway to liberation. It tells us, like Ha'i hamatmon, you know, there's an X that says, dig here, here's the treasure, in the treasure island. X on the map, b'toch hamapa. Chofer po. That's exactly dukkha. Dukkha shows us the doorway. So wherever we meet dukkha, instead of seeing it as a problem, I've got to take a pill, I've got a problem, we see it as a teacher. We can still take the pill. The Buddha had a doctor. But it shows us where we have to work to liberate, to look at experience differently. And it's very useful. Dukkha, that's the place. I need to look at that. That's the place of conditioning, hatnaya. That's the place of samsara. I'll go there. So dukkha is very important. And dukkha shows us all the time the voice of samsara, the voice of conditioning, the voice of what? Our biography, the voice of what is imprisoning us. And so that's one of the three voices that are the core experience, inside an experience. Any experience of listening to my voice right now is an experience. What's the dukkha inside? Listening, feeling, thinking. So when dukkha is also known fully, it becomes less. So it's not just a doorway to liberation, it's actually a doorway to feeling better. Otherwise, we don't get much motivation. But it does get less because we see it more directly and we don't let it control us. We are bigger than the dukkha. And therefore, it's reduced. I mean, you just see it any way you want to see it. But if, for example, a pain, if we be busy with being the victim, ha-kurban, how much we add dukkha to dukkha to dukkha to dukkha. But as soon as we are bigger than our pains and dukkha and dissatisfactions, and we can watch them inside an experience, we are not them. And therefore, we are much freer from pain. The second one I want to talk about is anicca. Anicca is changeability. But it's actually deeper than that. When we look carefully at an experience, there is nothing there that we can hold on to, because it's going all the time by itself. There is nothing there that we hold on to. The whole of reality is a dynamic flow. We want to hold on, like I want to know that I'm Stephen now, and in 5 minutes, about 5 דקות, I will stay me. We want to hold on. But if we just think, if I move my head, the whole world has changed. All I've done is move my head. For me, the whole world has changed. The whole world has changed. New people, new situation. Every moment the world is changing for us. We can't hold on to things even if we want to. They are constantly changing. I mean, think about money. Money is such a big symbol of attachment. We are busy with it all the time. We're thinking about it all the time. We're running after it all the time. It's nothing we can hold on to. Today especially, it's not. We don't even see it. It's in the bank in numbers or in bitcoins. It's not even existing. It's like water. It goes between people. It just runs like water. And yet we're full of it. We want it. We need it. We need it. We can't see it. We don't know where the gold is. It probably doesn't exist. It's just a fantasy. And we can't take it with us when we go from this world. So here's an example, very simple example of how we make something solid, which in itself is not solid, and moves all the time, and passes between people, and flows backwards, forwards, and everything is like that. There is a Zen story about a student that came to the teacher and said, I've got a lot of anger, I want to deal with my anger. And the Zen master said, okay, bring the anger, and we'll deal with it together. So the student said, well, at this minute, actually, I don't have anger. So the teacher said, well, next time anger comes, bring it, and we'll deal with it. So the student said, yes, but it takes me 10 minutes to get from my room to your room, and in that time, the anger will certainly have gone. So the teacher said, you see, that's how to deal with anger. Even if you want the anger, it won't be there when you want it. It comes and goes as it does by itself. You can't have it. So it's a small example. So everything is changing and everything is made, and this is a deeper understanding, everything is made up of something else. There is no thing that is made that is itself. Everything, and this needs some insight, every single thing, us, objects, everything is made up of other things. It's not itself something. It's a flow of materials and energies and people and life and universe passing through. That's all it is. And if we're talking about, it's really important, if we're talking about psychological patterns, for example, and here's where the Dharma really, really helps in dealing with psychological patterns and tavniyot and painful mental structures, if we see that, as the Buddha said, they are like line drawn on water. Every mental phenomena is a line drawn on water. And everything goes by itself. We don't need to work so hard to get rid of things because they always go by themselves. We just have to be fully there with anicca, with the fact that everything goes by itself. And if we can be in there, in our experience, it's tremendously freeing. Nothing sticks, nothing in tekua, can keep on. It's not stuck. Everything is going. We just have to see that and really, really be okay with that and see that that's the nature of reality. And then, wow. I mean, psychologists do work. My daughter works like that as a CBT practitioner. But she works in the framework of CBT. But she knows that insight and uses it. And it's liberating even in the situation of some serious psychological difficulties. The third of the three is anatta. And this is the big one. And anatta is anatta, meaning non-self. And it actually is an understanding that this being is not a being, but a process. I'm being created all the time. Stevening is happening. There isn't a Stephen. Stevening is happening in response to the situation. That's all. All of you are processes. You're not beings. And if you try, and anatta doesn't say there is no self, because we experience that I exist is an experience. It's not a false experience. It's an actual experience. But if we look deeper and ask where is the self that it seems to be existing, we can't find one. And therefore, in the heart, and again, the three characteristics are the heart of experience. The truth at the heart of experience is that we can't find a self. Not in the heart, meaning superficial, shidchi, mabat kazeh shidchi, yes, I'm existing, no problem. I exist, of course I exist. Don't tell me I don't have identity. Sure I have identity, zuhud. Yeah. But that's not the heart of experience. The heart of experience is if you look for it, you won't find it. One word that is maybe useful here is transparency. Shkifut. That we look through, we don't find the self because we keep looking through it. We just can't find it, but it's a belief. In the Buddhist world, the self is a belief. It's not reality. And therefore, inside experience, we don't find it. If we're looking for the self as the owner of our experience, we will not find that our experience has an owner, Baal. I'm doing a lot of experiments in Bar Ilan these days and in the laboratories on meditation experiences. So I'm being put in machines and so on. And they're measuring non-self, experiences of no self, which I go through experiences and then they measure, and we've published a couple of papers. It's interesting. But scientists also can't find a self. It's not that they also can't find the neurologists and the brain scientists also can't find a self. It's a pattern, yes. It's a memory, yes. It's a kind of a reshet in the neuronim, but it doesn't really exist as a thing. So there's a nice little... Winnie the Pooh is great on this. One time, Pooh Adov, Winnie the Pooh, came to Piglet, and Piglet was digging in the garden. And he came and surprised Piglet. And Piglet turned to Pooh and said, "I knew it was you." And Pooh said, "So did I." But that's the superficial. But the deeper, there's also a little story that is the deeper side of real anatta. When Pooh at some point said, looking for Piglet, he said, "The more I looked for Piglet, the more Piglet wasn't there." That's exactly it. The more I look for Stephen, the more Stephen isn't there. Or anyone. Or... So, when we look for the self, again, in the heart of experience, what opens is something boundless. Bli gvulot. Mashu ein sofi. So if we look at experience, there's something there which is ein sofi, which is not personal, which is not owned. Bli ba'alut v'bli gvulot. Because the gvulot are learned assumptions. They're not real, they're beliefs. So if we really look in the heart of experience, and this usually needs meditation, at least the beginning, we will see something boundless instead of something in boundaries. Gvulot. So all three of them work together. The three characteristics always working together. They're not separate because they're machlokot, departments. For example, the more we take on the illusion of self, the more dukkha there will be. So dukkha and atta are really connected. The more we let go of self, for example, my problems, or if self becomes a real strong ego, how much pain it brings to yourself and to others. Ego of any kind that is exaggerated. You know how much pain it gives. We have a few big egos running this country and how much pain is created. So the more self, the more pain. And often the more pain, the more self. More pain, for example, ani ha-kurban is pain. Or ani kacha. Ani sovel is already ani. So the two are connected. Another example, anicca, meaning the changeability of everything, will show us anatta. That if everything is changing, where's me? If I'm changing all the time, where's me? And it's a question. I remember when I was 6 years old, 5 years old, I was really angry about Judaism, Yahudut, when I was young. And really quite early I said, look, is this finger a Jewish finger? Where is Jewishness in me? My father sort of didn't know what to say. The two are together. If everything is changing, and if we look carefully, we're not going to see a self. And if we don't see a self, we see change. We see the process. So processing and non-self really go together all the time. There's another example. And if the more we drop dukkha and become bigger than dukkha or pain and freer from pain, the less we need to be a self. anatta when we are more at ease. I mean, just think of the difference between struggling, I don't know, in your having to do a hard day's work and having deep relaxation in a yoga class or at the end of the day when you're lying down and you have deeply relaxed and you don't need to do anything or be anybody. So you're less of a self than you are facing the world. Ani tzurich, ani chayav, ani mamash. Facing the world, yom avodah kazeh. So the two go together. The dukkha and the reducing dukkha and finding ease, ninochut, will say, I don't need to be such strong me. The ease, the joy, means less me, less ba'alut. So they all work together. So more or less that's what I want to say. A reminder of what I said at the beginning. When we look at life superficially, we will see illusion. We will see hashlaya, illusion. It's unfortunate. Things are other than the way they appear to be. There's a beautiful phrase from the Theravada tradition that says, whatever we conceive something to be, it is other than that. So we need to be underneath this illusion of belief in the way things seem to be, and that's the three characteristics. To go underneath, to see things dharma, to see things more freely, to free ourselves from the chains of ordinary beliefs in facts and me and the world like that and the general illusions. And that slowly leads to awakening at a deep, irreversible state that you never go back.